Right, guys, Hummer H2, no crank, no start. Turn it on and the security light goes off. Check engine light, you can see on. The park does not light up, no crank. So they replaced some parts of the dashboard, the BCM here, you can see it under there, and they swapped it back to the original. They said at one point it would crank, then boom, shut off, and that was it. And they tried swapping it, programming the key, the 10-minute cycle, all this kind of stuff, and now they're at this point right now where it won't crank at all. And this is the original BCM. All right, since I cannot communicate with any modules, I've decided there is a breakout on this Hummer, and it's called SplicePack 205. It's located right in here. I've actually already pulled it down. If you see that wiring harness, it's attached to this wiring harness right here with the yellow cable. It goes back and you can see it. I'm gonna show you where it is. I pulled it down. In fact, there's another vehicle here. Let me go to that vehicle and show you on that. That's even easier. So this one is going to be a lot easier to show you. So you see that? This is SplicePack 205. This is the comb that sits in here just like that. You see that? I pulled it out to check it. So this just basically ties, it's tie wrapped or taped onto this wire harness just like that. You see? So I pulled it off and there it is. And you can see where it sits in the car, right? So, and there's a color code so you know exactly which cable goes to what device. So for example, the dark green goes directly to the OBD2 port, right? Which is, I believe, pin 1 or pin 2. Here it is right here. Yeah, so that dark green goes to that. And I'll show you the diagram so you can see what goes to what. So what we're gonna do is eliminate, I've already advanced it a little bit. I tried first to connect the engine computer to the OBD port, and the engine computer is that purple wire you see right there. That's, I believe, D. So B and D, I bridged them together. So you just use a little wire and go from B to D, and that will connect them to the OBD port, and I still was not able to communicate with the computer. So I connected the BCM and the instrument cluster, and I can communicate with them. And let me show you what I use. I've made this from wires, spare wire that I had.
By the way, guys, I'm gonna also have a final version of this little tool on our website, globalcommerceca.com. So if you're interested, go head over there and pick it up, or you could always make one yourself.
I've got a crimper tool. I did an extensive review on these crimpers, how to crimp, best practices, and all of that. So with this, I can bridge each device in one by one, just plugging it in. Let me show you. You see that? So like this is B and that's D. So that would bridge the OBD port to the engine computer, which is on D. And like that, I have no communication with the engine computer. But if I move this over to, I believe, which is M on that side, which is the instrument cluster, I can communicate. So that's telling me there's a good chance that there's an issue going to be on the engine computer on D. So I'm going to bridge all the other ones on the actual vehicle and see if I get full communication back. And then I'm going to add the engine computer back in and see if the problem comes back where I lose communication. And that's going to tell me on that leg of the wiring or the ECM, there's an issue. All right, guys, I've hooked up everything. And I've also hooked up my meter as in oscilloscope mode, basically, in one of the leads. And as you can see, I'm trying to get a good view for you. Yeah, I've got pretty much all of them bridged except for the engine computer. And I've got communication with everything. So that tells me at this point, once I plug in the engine computer, it brings down the network. So it's going to be wiring to the engine computer, or the engine computer itself is what the issue is. So what I'm going to do first is disconnect the engine computer and see if I connect the lead to the engine computer, if the problem if the wiring still brings down the network. That will tell me if there's wiring going to the engine computer that's damaged and not the engine computer itself. So that's the next step. All right, guys, I had them remove the engine, not the engine computer. And can you see this? See that residue there? You know what that is? That's oil. Looks like engine motor oil somehow got into the engine computer, and that could be where our problem is coming from. So I'm going to go ahead and connect up the line to this computer and see if the problem goes away. But it looks like it's going to need to be cleaned, and possibly corrosion there in the computer regarding this oil spill. I'm going to add the line back in. Look at that, man. Computer full of oil, man. Hold up.
You know Nelson?
Yeah, I got communication now with the ECM. I don't know if you can hear that. It now tries to crank. So the original computer definitely damaged. No.
You gotta keep doing it. I think the starter has a thing. Yeah, keep going. The starter.
All right, guys, I got the truck started. I did the 10-minute programming on the PCM. I did it like 2 times, and it was able to then sync up, and the vehicle started. I've got it started with my jump wire because I actually found another device. I believe it's H that is damaged. There's something going on there, but that's probably going to be a part 2. But that is basically programming and starting this Hummer. So, and remember, thumbs up button, if you didn't know this, now you know. And knowing is half the battle. See you on the next one, guys.